Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the LCBI Bison's uh, fall season playoff match. We are going to be playing, just want to make sure I get this right, the Pueblo West Overwatch Varsity from Colorado, the number 4 ranked team. The Bisons come into this 32 team bracket ranked 29th. Tonight, you'll have myself, Silver Shadow, one of the coaches of the team, and joined by Golden Shadow. Say hi, Golden.
Hello, everybody.
Gold is one of our recently graduated members of the LCBI Esports program. Played 3 years at LCBI, graduated last year, and a member of our playoff teams that have been there the last few seasons. So, um, yeah, tonight we've got a tough challenge ahead of us, being the 29th ranked team up against the number 4 ranked team in the bracket. Um, Looking forward to seeing what the Bisons can do here. Again, Bisons came in as a relatively um, new team this year with 4 of our starters graduating. So Chris Summick is the only holdover from our starting 5 from last spring season C play game. Joining C play game, um, we have uh, we have a few newcomers joining, and that would be um Cullen Keith, uh, as one of our damage players. Now, Cullen has been on the team for a few years, but has stepped up to his starting role now this year, and we've seen great improvement in Cullen's uh, play. Randy Anderson, one of our support players, also was on the team last year, first year for Randy last year, and again, great improvement stepping into a starting role. And Caleb Turton. Caleb's also been on the team for a few years, and has found himself in a starting role. And both Caleb and Randy support players have been really impressive so far this year, uh, with the improvement that we've seen and what they've done. And then I believe we've got a late substitution. Peter Haberstock, a first year player, will be stepping in as our starting tank. Piper Murdoch, normally our starting tank, I believe will be waiting in the wings if to be called upon. And joining Piper, uh, prepared to jump in, is Evan Chang, Sarah Knutson, and Lyndon Alto, rounding out our team of 9 players for this season. So um, we'll see what comes of things there. Um, the team has been really focused on taking the next step. Um, we started off the year with a lot of these players being very new and just working on basic gameplay, uh, team tactics, communication, um, you know, breaking some old bad habits and building some new good habits around that gameplay. So the last few weeks, as the team has grown in their competitiveness, um, we've been fine tuning some of that and really focusing more on some of the strategic pieces that go into this, understanding the environment, using the environment to improve your angles and ability um, to focus the other team where you want them to be. So um, excited to see how the team responds here. Again, like I said, in a tough spot with this playoff match, but again, really impressed that they cracked this top 32. This group came together to really make that happen. It's a big step for them to even crack the top 32 when we've got so many newer players. So I would say this fall season has been successful already from that perspective, and we're moving towards bigger and better things, I guess. Um, we do have a spring season as well. So, the fact that this team had the fall season to gel together and made playoffs um, was definitely above expectations, which is very exciting leading into the spring season coming up later in the year. So, Gold, I know, obviously you've graduated, you've moved on, and I know you haven't had a lot of time to kind of see what the team is. Both yourself and Banana Josh, another one of our graduating players from last year, have joined in on a practice or two. Um, is there anybody that stands out to you that you're looking to see kind of step up today?
Not anybody in particular. I'm not really familiar with the team, so it'd be really great to watch just how they play as a team in general. It'll definitely be interesting to see the differences between the team this year and how the team last year played, because there's just a whole bunch of different dynamics that you can have with the characters and all the play styles and stuff. So I'm not focusing on one player in particular, but just the team as a whole and comparing how they played to how we played and who did what better.
Yeah, that's good perspective and really good to be able to look into for sure. Um, I guess obviously we'll see how things come about um, with this team, but it'll be interesting to see how they react. So I don't know if you can think back, to kind of your first year in the esports with the Bisons, but that year you guys definitely weren't favored. We came in as underdogs and actually won our first round as underdogs. I know that was challenging. Um, what do you think is going through the minds of these kids here? Some of them playing their very first playoff game for esports.
I think it's what they've been training for all season. Season is basically practice for the playoffs, and like you said, upsets have happened in the past, so there's no reason to count them out now. I do think they have a decent chance of getting through this game on top and getting to the next round of finals. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see how nerves kind of take over and if they make some of the slip ups that my team did in the past when in the playoffs, because I do know there is a lot of nerves put on games like this because it feels a lot more important than just regular season games.
Yeah, for sure. These playoff games, it's not easy to get into the playoffs. We've had to play some really tight matches to even qualify for the playoffs. It feels like the last few weeks probably have been very much like that playoff style competition where it seems like every decision gets magnified. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle the nerves of this. I know they put on a really great pep rally for the kids at the school today. I got a video clip sent to me by one of the other coaches. So really happy to see the school, supporting these athletes. It's obviously different than your traditional volleyball or basketball team, um, but the school has done a really great job embracing the esports program and the athletes and understanding what's involved for this team. So currently, we're just waiting for our opponents to get online and the lobby to be created. I can see that the team has their Canadian symbols up on their game profiles here, so they're locked in, they're ready to go. Um, they're in a custom game right now, which is generally just a warm up. Just making sure that they're getting their aim where they want it to be, getting focused, and making sure that they've got all their settings locked in. and ready to go. So we're just waiting on our opponents to get online and get the game started here. Sometimes this can be the most nerve-wracking piece for sure for these young athletes. You know, we do have a half-hour window to kind of get the game started. Um, so we'll see how this comes together now. I do see we have a few folks that have logged in online on YouTube. Glad to have you here supporting the kids. Please feel free to share this link out uh, to uh, to others on your social media networks, and you know, the more we can share the message of these kids, the better. Um, you know, they put a lot of time and effort into this, and again, LCBI is a small school of just over 120 students ish. Um, and so, you know, when you've got nearly 10% of your student body on the team, um, and you're competing against schools that have several thousand students with a much smaller percentage of their student body in the team, you know, I think it's pretty impressive that these kids are competing at this high level. Um, so you know, the more support that they can see online, you know, it's no different than a hockey team or a football team filling up the stands. It always makes you feel better when you um, see those numbers climb and see those people online. So
Not gonna lie, the situation of our esports team versus the rest of the league kind of feels like the first Mighty Ducks movie, where we're just all like cobbled together and wearing different uniforms, but we come in and we play hard and we win a lot.
yeah, that's you know, that's a great analogy. You know, again, the school has done a good job in ensuring that you know, the kids aren't disadvantaged by you know, network speed or hardware. You know, they've got some really great gaming PCs in the lab there. I believe they have 8 now, uh, high-end gaming PCs, to make sure that the hardware is not a limitation for the team. Um, you know, but yeah, it's definitely underdog situation from that perspective, where you know, not only is it a small school, but you know, we're also in a relatively uh, you know, not nearly as populated area, being from Saskatchewan, Canada. So you know, we're not we're definitely not in what most would consider to be a hotbed of esports at this point in time. Um, but it's really cool that the school has built a program that has allowed them to compete against these larger schools that have been really well established with esports and that have you know, a big program built up. So kudos to these kids, and I'd like to give out a shout out to the head coach Brian. You know, phenomenal coach, works really well with the kids. You know, always supportive of them, and the amount of time and effort that he pours into them is really incredible. So grateful to have Brian leading the charge on a day-to-day basis. Um, you know, keeping the team uh, focused and working towards goals. So um, deserves a lot of credit. Unfortunately, you don't have Mr. Prokopchuk on the mic this week. You're stuck with us. Um, he had other commitments, but again, um, a huge part of our program when it comes to uh, these live streams, his passion, his excitement, um, is really infectious for the whole program. The kids, I know, really appreciate his live streams, um, and we've had a lot of comments from those of you that do turn in online, that he makes the game a lot more accessible to everybody. He's able to explain things and make it accessible for those that aren't perhaps um, you know, gamers all the time. So um, looking forward to having him back again, helping us live stream with the spring season, or perhaps even if you know, the if the Bisons pull off the win, even our next match. So grateful for all the people that are supporting the team and keeping things moving forward with this program. So
Fingers crossed we don't over explain something or explain something in a way that only gamers will understand. The biggest worry about Prokopchuk not being here.
Definitely true. Yeah, so feel free to throw questions in the YouTube chat. We are able to try and explain things or answer questions. So if you've got comments or questions, please feel free to throw them in the YouTube chat, and we'll try and address those as we go along today. Um, Again, we are playing the Pueblo West Overwatch varsity team from Colorado. We don't know a lot about the school, um, but we know that they've had a very good record. They've had a very good season, um, and and so we're looking forward to this match. So 19 minutes into our window, um, again, so we should be seeing some action hopefully very soon from the Pueblo West team and getting together on this first playoff match.
Yeah, this waiting period is definitely always the hardest because if they don't show up, we're moving into the next spot in the finals. So as a player, you're kind of hoping that they don't show up just to make that path a little bit easier.
Yeah, no, that's you never want to necessarily move forward on a technicality, but oh, here we go. We're coming into the lobby.
All right.
All right, so here we go. Looks like currently the first map is Lijiang Tower, which is a control map. Control map being there is kind of a center control point in the map. The map is kind of mirrored, and the teams will be fighting for that center control point. Um, the you'll see in the top center of the game when it starts. Once the control point unlocks, there'll be a percentage amount for each team. The first team to control that point for 100%, um, which means to have that full 100% and no enemy players on the control point will win this match. We do play a best of five. So control, hybrid, escort are guaranteed three game modes that we'll be playing today. And depending on split wins, then we move into push and flashpoint. So looking forward to seeing how far we get there. We can see that the opposition has 4 out of 5 of their players in play now. So they're just finishing setting things up, maybe waiting for a fifth player to join. So um, yeah, so we'll see how this plays out. So um, again, our starting five, we have Neohawk as our tank. That's Peter, and then we have C Play Game and Starting Point are our two DPS players, and Skyfire and Star Trek Fan are our two support players. So each of those um, roles has multiple characters that they can choose from within. Each character has different abilities um, that make them, that composite of the 5 players, an important piece of the strategy that goes into this game. So it's important, that the characters that they pick work together, that they have strategies to use those characters in different ways, um, and then they'll be looking at the comp for the opposing team and seeing if they have the option where they can try and counter the other team perhaps by a slight change. There's strategy involved there too with ultimate abilities and perks, which are part of the character, um, complete character. And so switching can set you back if you do it at the wrong time. So again, a lot of strategy that goes into your character choice and your team composition, the opposition team composition, the map that you're playing, and your strategy of how you're trying to execute. So it can be complex at times. It's something that we practice and we talk about often. Um, looking to optimize those to the best of our ability. So um, Neohawk is not our normal starting tank, but he is our backup tank, for lack of a better term. Um, and you can kind of think of the tank as like a center in basketball, or he kind of pivotal role, um, that that the rest of the team can kind of rotate around. So having a new player there, well, Peter has spent a lot of time playing with the team as tank, so it's not completely unfamiliar. Definitely a change coming into a playoff match. So, like I said, we're just waiting on the fifth player for our opposition here, and and we'll see. 24 minutes into our waiting period, so the kids will be settling in their chairs, shaking out the nerves a little bit, getting ready to go, and and just waiting at this point. So um, the team will all be in the lab. There's times where we have fans in person as well. I'm not sure what the status of the fan base is today, um, but again, um, looking forward to seeing how the kids react. C play game is the only player that we have that has played in a playoff match, I believe. Even some of our backups, I'm not sure if they got into any of the playoff matches in the last couple of seasons. Um, so it is definitely a different vibe from just your weekly matches or your regular practices. So we'll see how they handle the increased pressure of today's match. I don't know if Tragic is a spectator for the opposition, or if it's a bench player that they have. Um, see them down there in the spectators section currently. So within the Lijiang Tower, um, there's different maps as well. So um, so we'll see how the Bison strategy changes from map to map, um, and if they do a lot of character comps switches, we'll see. It'll be very interesting to see who the bans are for both teams as well. So sounds like we are waiting. Just reached out to one of the Bison's coaches. Sounds like they're the opposition kid that's missing is he's a bus student. He's trying to get home. So we're just waiting on that student to get logged in. So So Gold, I know you were a relatively flexible player with your time with the Bisons. You both started as a tank and a support, depending on different times and different people on the team. Um, did you have a favorite role or favorite character um, with your time with the Bisons?
Um, Probably I would say um healer because keeping the DPS alive is a lot easier than having everybody behind me because you're taking all the damage and the healers are trying to focus you and focus the DPS and you kind of get blamed for everything that goes wrong when things go wrong. Um, there's a lot more pressure put on the tank player than anybody else on the team. It is a very stressful role to go through and there's a lot more that you have to do. You have to pay attention to where the enemy is, you got to pay attention to where everybody behind you is. You got to pay attention to everything in the environment, so traps and bombs and turrets and all of that. Um, I definitely do prefer being in the role of healer because it's just easier. All you have to do is stand in the back and shoot whatever character you're playing forward. It's a very simple role. Um, my time as DPS, I don't know if I ever played it in matches, but I did play it in practices, and it is easily the easiest role in this entire game. All you have to do is shoot the enemy team. You don't really have to worry about where anybody else on your team is. Hiding behind the tank is definitely one of the core strategies, but yeah,
Well, that's fair. Yeah,
play.
no, the tank is definitely a linchpin to most strategies. Whether they're a dive character, whether they're a shield character, whether they're a melee character, um, definitely changes how your team approaches, their setup and how they manage the other team for sure. So we'll see. Peter, I believe, is a grade 10 student. Stepping into it to his very first playoff game and starting tanks. So, congratulations to Peter on that. Big setup and there'll be a lot of valuable experience today as we get going through this for him into the future. So, excited for Peter to get his first taste of this competitive playoff setup. And it sounds like the last player is logging onto the game now, so we should be getting going very soon. So again, we know that the Bisons are likely in for a pretty heavy task here to get through this team being number 29 matched up against number 4, but we have seen some big upsets before in the Play VS leagues. Everybody can have a bad day, and everybody can have an exceptional day. So we'll see how the Bisons fare here, and like I said, we've been working a lot of things trying to take the next step with the team. So we'll see how some of those practices have played out and how we can put this all together. Looking forward to seeing the team stretch their wings here and take that next step in their journey of competitive esports here. So, oh, I just saw in the chat there. You can.
Yeah, it looks like the other team is wanting to start 4v5,
Wow.
which is definitely an interesting play.
Yeah, they obviously feel very confident. Um, confident in the 4 of them, which is that's interesting. But they are over time already, so I know they don't want to take a forfeit either. Um, so we'll see how this plays out. If they've got a bench player perhaps that can slot in, or if they're going to wait for this person to join, or if they're going to try and start things off 4v5. That definitely looks like that would be a challenge, but I guess better than an automatic loss for sure. So we'll see how this plays out. I don't know. Have we Gold? Do you remember ever having a match either for the Bisons or the opposition where we started 4v5?
Never once did I ever see that.
Yeah, that's it's definitely strange. Maybe they've only got 5 players. It is possible. Um, Generally, we see teams with at least one spare. So I see they've banned Ana, which is a support
Yep.
player. Um, Strong first ban. Depending on the character that's playing, Ana can be a real game changer as a support with her biotic grenade um, and her
It,
nano ultimate. So
I think you should really be looking more at her sleeping ability. That is really the powerhouse that Anna has. Being able to take one of the players out of a fight is super powerful.
and looks like LCBI is banning Mauga, so that's a tank character. Um, and a pretty powerful tank character. Has some self healing abilities and is really great at clearing out and controlling space. Um, so that's an interesting first set of bans. So we'll see how this goes now. So we're jumping into Lijiang Tower. And you can see the clock starts counting down and allowing the teams to pick their character compositions and get their last minute strategies organized.
I'll find my own path.
All right, so we have Neohawk playing Sigma
Stay
as
in
our
sight,
tank.
and
We
I'll
have
keep you
C Play
safe.
Kame playing Bastion, starting point as help me out, Gold
Knowledge is its
Sojourn.
own reward.
Uh,
Yeah.
and then Skyfire as Kiriko and Star Trek fan playing Moira as our support. So pretty mobile character comp. C Play and Neohawk not quite as mobile, but we're going to see how this plays out. So, and they are playing 5v4,
Right
so
over.
Bison's add an advantage basically. Think like a power play in hockey right now. So we're going to see how this goes. Uh, we're going to follow Neohawk, and you can see he's got a shield up there. and an early aggressive play here with some not using the environment to their advantage against the Bisons, knocking people off the map there. So we'll have to see. Again, we're seeing our tank kind of lead away, looking for another opportunity. The other team is able to see us and move with us, so we're going to see how this plays out. Good push by the Bisons, some nice damage there, and well done to push their way onto the point and doing a fair bit of damage. So again, good job on the Bisons. Claimed the point, so 22 to 1. The opposition doing a good job of spreading out and pulling the Bisons into a position that they want. So the Bisons need to be, the Bisons need to make sure that they're really watching here. And ultimate ability there early by the opposition. So.
And that cleanse was not in a great place. I get understanding trying to save your other healer from that Doomfist, but not only was it too late to save the Moira, but also cleansing that ultimate would have been a huge play to keep the point.
Yep.
So disappointing to see that timing, and you gotta really be careful. Like, everything in this game is about timing. You gotta time your ults when you go in, and even your abilities and shots. Everything in this game is about learning timing and good timing too.
Yep. So again, we're seeing the opposition very, very aggressive here. Taking some opportunities and using the terrain to their advantage. The Bisons feel like they're just not ready for that level of aggression. So we'll see if they can turn it around here and get done what they need done here. So.
What I'm definitely seeing is Moira not utilizing those orbs that she has. If you throw them into that tight space, which is what the point is, or going into that side path like they have, those damage orbs can do some crazy hits.
Yeah. And again, timing, the Bisons are almost out of time here, having to push onto the point. Yeah, that was, they just definitely weren't ready for that level of aggression. So we'll see if the Bisons can turn it around here. They had some opportunities and they did some good work, but you can definitely see why this team was ranked number 4. There's a lot of talent there, and they're obviously communicating really well and using the environment to their area. Now that first map is very much has a lot of environmental possibilities. There's a lot of places to kick people off the map and different angles to take. This map has a lot less of that, so we'll see how the strategy changes for both the Bisons and their opposition here today. Moving into this map.
That Lucio and Doomfist combo is definitely insane on that map. It's basically like using the well from Ilios. That's where you get most of your kills, is from the environment on maps like that. Not only that, Doomfist was absolutely smoking their backline, and with the heroes that they had, they just couldn't do anything behind it. So when you have that, you kind of go for someone who has a stun ability, or just someone to keep that Doomfist in place so one of the DPS can take him out early.
Yeah, you could definitely see why they chose to ban Ana now, because Ana is definitely one of those characters that can help stun that Doomfist. So again, you can see aggression from the team. They're really hemming the Bisons in here, forcing them to fight right from the minute they walk out of their spawn. So we'll see how this goes here. I think I like this move of starting point. with this character. If you can play her right, she definitely has some abilities to help slow down that aggression. So
Yeah, I definitely think that playing Kiriko against this team is a very interesting choice, for lack of a better term. Kiriko doesn't have much upright healing. She's more of a offensive healer, kind of like Moira. You definitely have to be really good, and I noticed that she's not hitting her shots. Now, those projectiles are some of the hardest to hit. Same with Hanzo and Genji. Those projectile characters they take an insane amount of skill, and that's why you don't really see them in matches like this.
yeah,
So having that hero that's more of a trickle healing instead of upfront healing is definitely interesting to see. um, I feel like this is definitely a match where, especially like they've got Zen, which is also a trickle healer. Um, that's like healing over time. And what they really need is some upfront healing to give the DPS a chance to get some shots in and take out some of these other DPSs.
yeah. So definitely lost the first round here. They again very aggressive. The Bison's struggling to kind of put a comp together that is going to try and give them a bit of an advantage. So we'll see how they react now with bans and stuff. You can just see that the Bisons were not prepared to deal with this Doomfist and the Lucio as well, causing a lot of issues there. So Bison's in tough, but they're a resilient group, and I don't see them giving up anytime soon. So we'll see where we go to from now. So we're going to be moving into a hybrid map. So the Bisons, having lost, get to pick their hybrid map, um, which is one positive. So and then we'll see what they do with the bans here as well. So
Yeah, with that first match, it really felt like 1-2 punches in boxing where you're just sort of smacking the opponent in the head as much times as possible to discombobulate them, get them all confused, get them unsteady on their feet, and that is a really hard thing to deal with, especially in the first match. It brings the morale down. You really have to have some strong mental fortitude to get through a beatdown like that in the first match. But I definitely know that it's possible to make the comeback, and I really think that they can pull this off.
yep. So you see the Bisons have chosen Eichenwald as the map. It's one that they know well. They practice often. They've played many times this year, and they banned that Doomfist off the start. So we'll see what ban comes from the opposition. They're going to ban Curie, and we'll see if they get their fifth player in or if they're going to continue 4v5. Obviously, the 4v5 didn't hamper them too much. They very talented team and were able to kind of overcome that disadvantage right off the start. So
Yeah, in this map, you're definitely gonna have to worry about the 3 choke points that are along the route. First one, getting to the first point underneath the bridge. That one is really difficult to get through, and then you're gonna have to worry about the first point, under the castle, and then the third choke point into the doors into the big castle. I definitely know that you have a lot of trouble getting through those choke points, but once you do, the rest of the way is kind of easy, except for into that castle where it's a very enclosed space. There's a lot of hallways that you can go down, getting into the back line. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how they deal with the choke points, both defending and attacking.
yeah, I agree. The Bisons, just looking back at that first map, um, you know, they the opposition was able to put a lot of damage, into those confined spaces. So, those choke points are going to be a challenge for the Bisons to deal with for sure. So, we're gonna follow starting point here. I don't think we've really followed him much today. So one of our DPS players, and we'll see how the Bisons handle this challenge. Looking forward to seeing them bounce back and keep working through this.
It's definitely interesting to see this team. I think their thought process is like to out damage the other team, because you have people like Zen and Cassidy who are high in damage if you can hit your shots. It'll definitely be interesting to see if they can pull that off, because this other team, they're doing some amazing damages. I definitely think going Junker Queen for the tank is a really good idea. She has some self-healing abilities that will really help her out in sustaining, especially with Zen being a trickle healer. Not a lot of boosting that he's able to do except with his ult, which I think will be super helpful if he can get it. They seem to have taken on that first choke point really well, just sort of bursted through. Taking down one of them definitely really helped.
Not seeing our tanks cycle their abilities very well though. Obviously, I don't think Peter's very familiar with Junker Queen. Didn't see him. That's key with Junker Queen, is cycling those abilities. So we'll see if that improves here over time. So
yeah, really watching what your abilities are doing, and I totally understand, like, when you're getting all of these things pelted at you, you're definitely going to panic and start pressing as many buttons as possible, hoping something will change the outcome. And with some of these newer players, you're definitely going to see that a lot more, where they're just throwing out abilities, hoping that something works. So that's something that they really got to watch for when in these high-stress situations, is that they're keeping their calm and making sure that they're using their abilities properly.
So Bison's up another player now, so they got a couple of knocks. So we'll see if they can press the advantage. They are capturing the point and managing, but we'll see how that continues. Again, not seeing a lot of abilities from Peter being used there. That's those white squares in the bottom right. We want to see a lot more of those in use as these fights continue.
Well, there is a little bit of good news in this fight, is that the opposite team has used all of their ultimates, the big powerhouses, and we have also claimed the point, which means going into the next fight, our team will have their ultimates and the opposing team won't. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how they space those out. Spacing out ultimates is definitely super important, and you could see that the opposite team did one right after another. That definitely helped them, but not enough to keep the point.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. It's we're seeing them kind of get flustered, and the opposition's doing a good job of kind of distracting them and moving around. Not necessarily doing a lot of damage, but just keeping things kind of busy, and not really seeing. Again, we're following the tank as kind of that key piece, but we're not seeing a lot of path forward here. So hopefully we see this kick in with some strategy and take some space here soon.
Yeah, I definitely think that a Reaper to keep up with this Junker Queen would do them a lot of favors. Reaper being close quarters also has a self-healing ability. I think the two of them going face to face with this other team, it's clear that they would be able to take those health bars down quite a bit.
Yeah,
and then keeping this Cassidy far paced far away with the healers, kind of taking shots at the ones up in the tower here would definitely work to their advantage.
Yeah,
But
we're seeing
considering,
some good ult usage, but we're really not seeing the Bisons focusing on moving this point at all. They seem very disorganized and kind of running around. Um, kind of really off kilter by this Junker Queen and Lucio combo. The Bisons really need to get focused and push this point. Um, you know,
yeah, they're definitely not really working as a team and sort of playing as individuals. You
yeah,
can see that they're doing pretty well just on their own, but it's clear they're not playing as a structured team. You can see that in them being disorganized all over the place. You don't really have one following the other. They're all paying attention to their own thing.
yeah,
And that's really the make or break in this team, in this game, is playing as a team. You can have like some of the worst players possible, but if they work as a team, they're pretty much indestructible. You really can't win when you're playing individually.
yeah, and we're definitely
And you,
seeing that individual play here. Um, not not working together, not focusing on the same thing. Again, everybody kind of doing their own thing, and really again not paying attention to the point at all. Um, Running around, and when you've got a Lucio and Junker Queen, those are very mobile characters, and if you're going to chase them around, they're gonna lead you to where they want you to be and deal with that, right? So
yeah, I definitely noticed that a lot, even with my old teams, is that people focus a lot more on kills and less on the point than they should, because the point is how you win games. What you can do is just keep the other players away from the point the whole time and you still win by getting only like 2 or 3 kills in a match. But pushing that point is definitely, it should be your highest priority, and staying on that point is your highest priority. And especially as defense, like if they're sitting up in that tower, they can't do anything about that point. Um, so if you just kind of keep them in hiding and push them away, like they can't really do anything to stop you. And with escort, it's definitely one of the easier ones because it makes them come to you. It's one of the hardest to defend
yeah,
because it's constantly moving and you constantly have to move your team around to get different advantage points to take out the people on the cart, unless you're going for a full like face-to-face uh, fight, which is very difficult to do. You're gonna have to have some really tanky players and some really good heals
yeah. Well, and
to
especially
do that face-to-face.
yeah, especially fighting up against um, such mobile characters like Lucio and Junker Queen that are able to really hop around. So we can see C play game has switched to Symmetra. It's an interesting play, and we see that the
Their
opposition has
fifth
their fifth
player
player.
did
So
join.
so
So
glad
this
to
is
see
definitely
that.
going to be interesting.
Yes.
I need help.
And you can see
Yeah.
again that Junker Queen Lucio combo. We've got Bisons focused in 3 different areas, and not really able to support each other, and just kind of got run over there. So
Yeah. Definitely like splitting up into 2 groups is what you want to do in situations like this. You want to have the DPS together, with one healer and the tank with another healer so that everybody can have somewhat support, but definitely splitting up like they do. They're casting too wide of a net for what their team is able to do, and it's shooting them in the foot. And you can see here, like, the other team is pushing the payload
yep,
very quickly.
Yep. No, that was again. There's a reason why they're the number 4 ranked team. They're very talented group and working really well together. You can tell. And there's going to be a lot of lessons for the Bisons to learn here when we start looking at film and looking into this. So
Yeah, and I definitely understand how it's really easy to totally go off the walls. You tend to forget everything and go back on instinct because even though this is a video game, it still gets your heart pumping, gets your blood pressure up, gets that adrenaline flowing. You have things in your ears, in your eyes. I definitely think it is one of the harder sports to play overall. Because, in basketball, you only have to worry about the ball and whoever's in front of you. But in this game, you have to worry about what's on the ground, what's on the walls, what's coming at you, and from where. And there's definitely a lot of input that you're trying to process all at the same time while your teammates are talking to you, and it takes a lot of focus to be able to use your abilities and your aim, and it's definitely not easy to play as a team in this sport because again you're falling back on what is instinct and what is
yep.
just natural to do.
Yeah, and especially with a relatively inexperienced team, that's where you see them falling back into playing kind of solo, one-on-one. The communication starts to drop away, and you fall into that trap of trying to do the things yourself instead of working as a cohesive unit, which is what we kind of saw out of the Bisons there. They got flustered and really not focused from that team perspective. So,
Yeah,
well, we're gonna move in. Go ahead.
that's definitely something that I see even in my own team the last couple of years is where people start to get in this headspace of, oh, if I just went over here and did this, it would go a lot better. But then they abandon the rest of the team who is trying to play, and it just all falls apart from there.
Yep. So we're moving into the Dorado map. Um, so we're now moving into the escort. So basically, we're very similar to the last game mode, but straight escort right from the beginning, moving that payload. Um, and I saw the Bisons banned Lucio, so that healer, and they banned Bastion. So you can see C Play has now switched to Soldier 76, and we'll see how this plays out for the Bisons. Again, I fully expect them to not give up and continue on. So we'll see how this plays. So
It's definitely interesting to see their one healer, um, Star Trek.
Star Trek fan,
Hang,
yes.
yeah, he keeps switching between so many different characters. It's almost like he's not sure what would go best against this team, which is one of the things that you see from experienced players, where they're able to know the characters and know who fights against what better and all the counters. So you definitely see a lot of the switching happening with less experienced players.
I draw the wheel. Let's turn
But
this
it's
around.
definitely interesting to see
Our futures are
only
intertwined.
the two players, Kiriko and Junker Queen, kind of stay with each other because they can see that what they're doing is sort of working.
Yep. You can see how fast Doom builds that ultimate ability
Railgun powered and
um,
ready to fire.
and able to use it. So
Not so fast.
I'm on the payload.
Got one
Get
here.
over here.
I'd
nice
stay down.
nice pick there by Starting Point. That was really good. So again, we're seeing the Bisons trying to move into that area and move the payload, and good job by by the opponents here to move in and out and have lots of different areas changing the angle of attack for the Bisons, making sure that they're having to look many different directions. Now, good job on the Bisons. They won a team fight here. They're moving the payloads. This is great. That the patience and persistence worked on. So we'll see how this moves, how far they can get this payload moved before the opposition's back. And it looks like they're back now. So a little over halfway, it looks like, through this first checkpoint. So we'll see how the Bisons can focus this now and see if they can get another team win.
Yeah, one thing that I'm noticing is that they're also like spreading out their shots, so they're not trying to focus on one of the opponent characters. And that's kind of what I noticed when they could finally move the payload is once they got one down, they could kind of like keep that ball rolling and bring several of them down. It's definitely easier to bring down a character when all of you are fighting the same character, so when they're kind of spread out like this, that also makes it difficult. Picking your target is also super important. I feel like they should be focusing that Doomfist a little more since that's who is giving them the most trouble.
Yeah, working together on that Doomfist. Doomfist isn't a high health character, so working together to fight that Doomfist would be really in their best interest for sure.
Yeah, I 100% understand. Like, that Junker Queen should be able to distract the rest of the team while both of the DPS take care of that Doomfist. Even the Junker Queen and Kiriko, if they can just hold out and distract the rest of the team while the two DPS take out that Doomfist, I feel like they would have a lot easier chance of getting that domino effect again and moving the payload. Although I did see when they first moved the payload, it didn't actually move until they were coming up the rear and everybody was dead, which is another thing that they're going to have to work on in the off-season, is just focusing on staying on the payload and less worried about those kills.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the Bisons got one decent push in there, so we'll see how their defense lines up here. Again, in tough, we've said that all day long, but good on them for not quitting and putting forward a huge effort here. So proud of them for that. Again, coming in as such big underdogs, I'm really impressed that they've stuck with it and are continuing to push through. So we're going to see the Bisons move to defense now on this Dorado map and see what they have in store.
Yeah, 29-4 is a very difficult match to play. Again, it's not totally impossible, but if they do win this, it's definitely going to be a big upset. I believe we defeated the 10th place when we did our upset that one year, and that was super difficult. I don't think we've ever been able to take down one of the teams that were in the top 4. These teams are in the top 4 for a reason. They are very good at what they do.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's not like you get into the top 4 easily. The regular season, they've obviously done a really great job with how they've put together. So we see C play game as a sniper here, so we'll see this map generally pretty good for snipers, but you can see
with that first sniping point, you really got to be careful about where you start. Picking the side is definitely an interesting way to go. Mostly squishies come out that door, so it was very good. But you can see when the character is at the window, and if you don't see anybody moving, that is kind of your indication to move to another door.
Yeah. You can see here that the opposition has people just moving the payload, even though the Bisons, they're really pushing the Bisons and just left one person on payload for that win. So, anyways, really proud of the Bisons today. Not an easy match, but proud at how they pulled through. So, um, good luck to the Pueblo West Overwatch varsity team from Colorado. They played a really great game today, and congratulations to them. But other than that, that's it for the Bisons for our fall season. We'll be wrapped up now, and look forward to seeing you all in our spring season.